You are now checking out The Win Podcast, where the everyday people are the celebrities. So let's get to know them.
What up, tribe? NYC Food Muse here on the Win Podcast.
This is the beautiful thing about social media that I love. Either you can have creeps that like don't know how to like stop bothering you, or you can
which I kind of thought he was.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can have genuine good people, right? So, and it was so funny when she came to the show. They asked that question: "How did we meet?" I was like, "Well, I slid in the DM. I said, "What's up?" and stuff like that. Showed the show, and we became good friends from that. We had these epic FaceTime messages.
Goodness.
FaceTimes through
yes,
Apple,
during
whatever.
a very pivotal point in my life.
Yeah,
very transitional moments.
Because I want that info. And but it was she was just a genuine, true person where we would just joke around and talk about real shit. It was like we had our own like novella. Like, you know, every now and then we'll just check in on each other and just chat. So that's our connection, and that started to flourish with friendship and stuff like that. And now I want to know, basically, so people could know, who is Rosanna and what does she means to you?
Wow, that's deep.
I hit you straight with the jab on that one.
What does Rosanna mean to me?
Yeah,
like,
who are you?
She?
Yeah, who are you, and what does that mean?
She's passionate. She's powerful. She's a queen. Yeah, pretty much. She's creative. She's driven. She's goal-oriented. She is giving. She's love. She's light.
Damn.
All of that.
That's awesome. That's
all of that.
Awesome. So I want to know basically like where did the Rosanna story start? Like where did you grow up at? You know, how was your upbringing?
Gotcha. Upbringing is pretty traditional, you know, typical Hispanic household. Lived with my parents. They're still married. Grew up in Brooklyn in East New York.
Bullet.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes you hear that in the summertime. You know, went to Catholic school. Just a pretty typical family. Couldn't sleep over people's houses.
Ever.
You know.
No,
right.
you
Please. I walked around the corner to go to a friend's house. My mom's like, "Call me when you get there."
Yeah, exactly. Like, you couldn't stay over either. Like,
right.
No, you got a house in that. You got a bed in the house.
Well, that one friend I was able to stay over because it was just, she just lived with her mom.
Okay.
Like, so there was no other man there. You know how moms are.
Of course.
I don't know who's there, whatever.
I don't know if she's going to feed you. You got food over here?
Pretty much. Standard upbringing, you know,
Gotcha.
Successful parents, you know, stressed education. There was no choice. You're going to college, like,
Perfect.
bing, bang, boom. You know, you study, what you think is inspiring you at the moment, which was hospitality management, hotel, restaurant management.
So that was basically
What I studied.
You were studying first. And it was like, this is not for me eventually.
Well, like, the curriculum kind of encompassed the operations part and also the culinary part. So I got a taste of both. I loved culinary, but I knew I wasn't equipped to just be in a kitchen. Like, I'm too social for that. Like, I can't imagine myself like sweating bullets in the kitchen, and it's tough work, getting burned, getting cut, long hours on your feet, sweating bullets. Like, it just wasn't for me. So I transitioned from that side to like banquets, to events, and then, you know, was passionate about it, but I realized I wasn't getting anywhere. Like, when I worked for these companies, really great companies, I wasn't put lead for an event. Like, it would be some other thing. So after I had my daughter, it kind of just clicked to me, like, I need something more fulfilling. I need something that's going to give me the flexibility to be a parent and to have something that's just mine, where I work for myself.
And what is that? Because here where I kind of like remember that moment where we were FaceTiming, and I don't know if it happened probably a month prior to that FaceTime, but something was clicking where we was chatting. It's like, you know, this is something that I want to take on, and that what you was taking on was NYC Food Muse.
Yes.
What is that, and basically what inspired that? What you touched on, but I want to know that moment where you was like, I have this idea and I want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it came from my love of food. When I decided to leave my corporate gig and stay home with my daughter, she was already like 6 months at the time. And in staying home, I was just like, okay, how do I keep myself busy? Because she wasn't a demanding child. And I just would cook, right? And then you're on Instagram, you're on social media, people are living these fantastic lives, doing all these
There's
wonderful
no drama.
things.
It's like, everything's great.
And I'm just like, well, what am I doing with my time? Where's my contribution to society? So, you know, all my friends loved my cooking. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll start a blog. I had never operated a digital camera before. I borrowed my sister's Canon, and I just started taking pictures, natural light, in my kitchen in the Bronx, and where I was living at the time. And then when I had the pictures, I was kind of just holding on to them, and I wasn't doing anything with it. And then I was like, what's holding me back? Like, what is it? You know, is it software? If you have to learn how to edit, learn how to edit. Like, learn how to do it.
Right.
So I did, and then I started the blog. And I would say maybe, because a blog is a lot of work.
Yes.
It is a lot of work. The timeline's fuzzy, but I want to say maybe like a few months into the blog. It was launched July 2016. And then I want to say like 2 months in, I was kind of just getting frustrated because I still wasn't feeling fulfilled. Like, it was kind of just halfway. Because, I mean, unless somebody's paying you, you're not really making money from a blog. It's kind of just your passion in the moment. So I took all those photos, created, you know, for lack of a better word, a bullshit portfolio. And I was just sending it out. Like, what could I lose? What's the, you know what I mean? They say no.
That's it. That's
and
the worst that can happen.
October 2016, 5 months later, I was hired by Uber Eats. And I was like, well, I guess I got something here.
I'm going to give you a soft clap for that because the mics are sensitive. But, but that's awesome. So take me down what you did. You took me down this journey. But what really stuck to me as well is that you left this corporate job, right? So this paying gig, whatever, every 2 weeks, whatever it is a steady income, right? Your child is 5 months around that time?
Yeah,
right?
like 5 or 6 months.
5 or 6 months. And you took this big leap of faith that to me is so inspiring.
Thank you.
Hearing that story, right? Not knowing that it's going to work out. What motivated you to say, fuck it, I'm going to leave this paying job and just like that? What was the motivation behind it?
I honestly, like, I was leaving for work in the morning and I just felt pain. I felt pain because, you know, I think the laws are different now, but at the time, like, maternity leave is only like 6 weeks if you have a regular birth or 8 weeks if you have cesarean. So I'm lumping in my vacation hours just to get at least 8 weeks with my child. I went back to work and I just felt crushed. I was still producing milk. I was still breastfeeding, and being back at work because I was so busy, I'd kind of just wait the whole day for them to fill up and then pump in my office. And for those that don't know about it, if your child is eating like every couple of hours, you should be pumping every couple of hours. Otherwise, your supply goes down. So once my supply...
Oh, so you lose that titty milk. I didn't know that. I didn't know. I learned something.
It's supply and demand. It's supply and demand.
Oh.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works. And I worked in an office that was all men, and it was like a loft style office. So there was no
and
like...
y'all can help you if you ever need some pumps.
Well, the good thing is that a few of them were like foreign, so it wasn't a big deal.
Okay.
And then the others were gay, so it didn't matter.
It's like, yes, that tastes so good.
Fine, you know, pop that titty out, girl.
Pop it. Yes, bitch.
So I would be there in the office with like a garb covering me, you know, the pumps attached, and you just hear the machine. And I'm like, just bask in the ambiance, guys, of the breast
I think
pump.
that's so funny that you there. I picture you there pumping titty.
Oh, I didn't give them a choice.
Right? And then you fed up. You just did stank, just pumping
He was
titty.
trying to tell me I could go in the closet.
What?
He was like, well, make some space. I'm like, nah, I'm not pumping in the closet, bro. Like, I'm doing it. And I told them when I came back to work, I was like, guys, I'm pumping here at my desk, FYI. They're like, oh, okay. Well, do what you gotta do.
So then you take that leap of faith, right?
I take the leap of faith.
And for me, what is, and then you said you love cooking, right? So then you kind of like found something to mix these. First, you learned from the college that you was in. You was like, all right, I'm gonna learn certain things here, but it's not for me.
Techniques, right?
Right? And then I said, but I love cooking, you know. And then you kind of like put them together. So you started creating your own path.
Yes.
And what I want to know from that is like, what is NYC Food Muse? because when I was looking on the thing, it says you're almost like you're a photographer and a stylist.
Photographer, food stylist, content creator. I work with brands to create content for, new products that they have coming out, and I've worked with some amazing brands like Nestle, like Kraft, like Lipton, like Red Lobster. I most recently did something with Applebee's. I worked with Walmart. I've had a really, really great clientele in a short amount of time.
One of the things that I saw that was so amazing to see was just like how delicious the food is good, right? But you add your own flavor to it. You add like the touches to it to make it look even like, damn, I need to go there, which is something that I didn't know was a technique. You just see the pictures and like, oh, that's great, but there's a lot of work that goes behind it.
There's
right?
people who, I'm not going to discredit the food stylists out there who like went to school for this, and like what I do is very intuitive. Like I am presenting the food to look as luscious as it possibly can. I'm not using, fake food. I'm not using like ingredients that aren't edible. Like I'm using the ingredients, I'm using real food, and I'm making it look how it should look.
But no one taught you that, right? You just basically had this eye, and you started every day on the job learning more and more, and like you basically going in there like, nah, baby, let me put these peppers over here, like you just.
and it's true. It's like if someone gives me a plate to take a picture of, and they put the burger down and then stack a mountain of fries, and then they give me the plate, I can't see the burger. You know what I mean? And I think people like forget that there is a systematic way about it. Like I want to see what's most important. I want to get that crisp on that chicken. I want to see the vibrancy of that summer salad.
So basically, did you have anyone basically, even though you was mainly self-taught and learning on the job, was there anyone that, I guess, in that area that you looked up to that was doing it? That you like, what I'm saying? Like I'm a guitarist, so I have guitarists, people that I'm like, oh, let me learn from certain things here. Is there someone that you kind of learned from a little bit or was watching from, or you basically was like, I'm on the fly and I'm just going to figure it out?
Like everything in my life for the past 2 years, I just wing it.
Wow.
I just wing it. I mean, when it came to the technical things regarding photography, I may have asked a few people like, oh, what can I do here? And I have made some great photographer friends that are like, oh, bump up the ISO, or, lower the shutter speed, or whatever the case is. And those were all terms that I was like just learning. But as I'm learning it, I'm learning how to do it. And it's that. Like, I can't even sit here and say I know everything about photography. I just know what I do and that I do it well.
Here's the beautiful thing about that I'm always relearning from is that just do it. That no matter what idea you have, what goal you have, if you do it with love and a passion, then things will fall in place. And just allow yourself to take that chance to go out there and just do it. Now, I know when we have these conversations, of course things will kick in, like the fears, the doubts that everybody have, even in my life. And when I put up shows and just being a human being in general, those are things we can never run from, but we can overcome it. So I want to know basically, like, what was the challenges that you remember, like you had putting this together and then maintaining it?
Doesn't that sound weird? I don't even know. Maybe I had challenges in my personal life, that, were getting in my head, but like, I don't recall any challenges in the field because I was just diligent about it. Like, on to the next gig, so to speak.
So, but basically, some of the challenges that you did have during that time one thing you explained was your personal life. So how were you able to, I guess, balance that and still like, I'm still going to go after that? Because you may not have the challenges in your field per se. Because you say, whatever comes my way, I'm going to keep on going at it. But I do have this other area that's kind of like almost preventing me.
Right.
Where I got to stay focused. What were you doing to like not psych yourself out and be like, no matter what, I got to keep going?
It was pretty intense. Like, I left my job first week of May 2016. The last week of May, like Memorial Day weekend or whatever, my relationship with my child's father just started to, I guess, reveal itself. The things that were buried or whatever. And that was difficult. It was difficult to mother a 9-month-old and deal with,
Right.
the breakdown of a relationship with her dad.
Right.
In the moment, though, like, because I was so sensitive to energies, my child's energy was so pure that it was like how mothers say, my child is my everything, my motivation. And if you're sensitive enough, it's true.
Right.
If you're receptive, because she's such a pure energy, most children are. And I'm just like, I gotta show up for her. You know what I mean? Because if it was just me by myself, I would have spent a couple days in a bed,
Right.
not talking to nobody, not eating.
Right.
But you can't do that. I gotta eat because I gotta stay alert to take care of this child, to be alert to make her some food, to be alert to do the things that she needs to be healthy.
So in hindsight too, it's like, she's rooting for you and she's teaching you as well, and you're learning from her and what this
Yes,
beautiful
to be present.
this beautiful relationship that you have with your daughter, and that how it's true how these kids come with gifts and they're there for you no matter what, and vice versa. So basically, I want to also know, like, is it harder for you being a woman in this industry and doing what you do, and was there any issues that you ran into? It's like, okay, I'm not gonna let them know I'm still figuring things out, but at the same time, I know what I'm doing, right? And I'm gonna walk into it, and I'm gonna have my shit figured out.
Yeah, I'm gonna say yes, and
Right.
teach myself on a job.
Right. And there's gonna be either men or other women that's like, okay, hold up, you're entering my thing. Like, I want to know, what were some of these issues that you was facing being a woman doing what you do? Because there's not a lot of men or other women that will like to see in someone that has power
Right.
and control, and it's coming from a great place, right? Because you're not going as like, first of all, your pork chop sucks. You need to cook it more. And
That chicken was dry.
it was dry. I don't know how I can make it look juicy because it's dry as fuck. But I'm gonna do my best with Photoshop. But
I feel like it depends on the field that you're in when it comes to photography, because you've got people who do fashion photography, lifestyle photography, portraits, sports photography, or whatever the case. Because of Instagram and everyone just getting so content driven, I really didn't have, like, I did have some issues, and I'll get to it.
Yeah.
But like, I've heard other photographers say that, like, maybe they didn't get the job because they were a minority, or like, you know what I mean? Like, I've heard those things. I have not personally experienced that, thank the Lord. But I know other photographers who have expressed that. As a woman, however, I have experienced situations in which I've been hired by men to do a job, and let's say it's a job that's like, a 2-day shoot. So I'll do the first half of the shoot, things will go well, and then the guy will make me in advance. And then I'm just like, can we finish the job? Like, this, no. And then all of a sudden, the rest of the project is canceled.
Wow.
Or there'll be men, like, romantically interested in me who will come to me as if they have, like, gigs or jobs. Like, oh, I know somebody looking for food photography. Like, let's go out to dinner and discuss. And I'm like, well, I do have $100 consultation fee.
Oh, nice.
And then that's usually when they don't talk to me anymore.
It was like, is there like a discount coupon you got? Like a
No,
20%
boo.
NYC Food Muse coupon?
No.
See, I love that, because what I want to touch on that is what I love about you, right? You're a very attractive girl, but you also put out there, and you put them on blast sometimes.
I do.
That you're like, you say, hey, I know I'm an attractive woman, but I also have a business that I'm running, and this is not about that. Can you guys come correct and whatever? And
I've said it.
and which I admire, because there's some people, right, that would play along with it and say, well, maybe he does know. But you're there from the beginning saying, like, guys, one thing doesn't have to go to the other. Like, I'm also talented, so let's keep it clean and let's keep it about the business, which I admire.
It shows that they're not authentic, which you can just tell right off the bat. Like, if you're authentic, then you just say, hey, I like you. Can I take you out? Real simple. Real simple. But when you come with, like, false pretenses, then it's just like, okay, you're like, you can't be trusted. You're not authentic.
Has that affected a lot of, I guess, your gigs, or you pretty much?
I would say it's happened to me twice.
Okay.
Before. No, maybe like 3 times. But once I made it known that I was not standing for that, it hasn't happened, which is great.
Nice.
Yeah, because I'm running a business. I have bills. I'm a parent. Like, time is money.
speaking of the parent part, which I'm going to get into even more, because to me, I always admire people and learn from that. Being a parent is not a 9 to 5. It's all day. It's 24/7, right? And then whatever you're going through, you have to deal with it, and whatever you're working on, you still have. So it's like juggling all these things. And I want to know, like, how do you manage your time being a parent, running a business, and like basically honoring all those things that you're doing? How do you manage to do it all? And probably takes time as well, like trial and error.
Again, I'm very blessed. I have a lot of help, but I'm gonna go backwards to like our parents' generation, right? So like you have someone like my mom's age group, and then like her mother, my grandmother, may she rest in peace. That age group was kind of like the women stayed at home. They worked. I mean, the husbands worked and they took care of house and family. My mom's generation was the generation of the working woman who's doing it all, cooking, cleaning, career, everything. And it's like they're used to being exhausted. It's like, you know how you see women who come together and like, child, you don't believe? Like, it's like having gripes is a thing. Like wearing motherhood is like a badge of pain. And I didn't want motherhood to be like that for me. So that's why, like, when I decided to leave my daughter's father, it was for my sanity. It was for the well-being and the quality of life that I wanted for myself. And it became a blessing because, we first of all, we have an amazing co-parenting relationship. He is an exceptional father. So having a great partner alleviates a lot. Like, I'm nowhere near as stressed. Like, I stress about maybe finances or stuff like that. But I know that soon is going to be taken care of. So I have balance in the sense that he handles his responsibilities. Like, half the week, she's not in school yet. So we have the week split. Half the week she's with her dad. Half the week she's with me. So when she's with her dad, I schedule shoots. I schedule meetings. I do what I need to do in that time. And then when she's with me, I can be present. You know what I mean? And I have that work-life balance. And if for some reason there's a work event that happens when I have her, I've got a great family that's there to watch her and support her. So I would say, like, for those that are looking for it, you have to create balance. You have to know that you cannot do it all, and you're not supposed to. I remember looking at my mom like, Mom, can you stay with her? Like, I need a break. My mom's like, break? ¿Qué break? ¿Qué es eso? Break. And I'm just like, yes, Mom. It's called balance. It's called balance. Like, I'm not in the age of people who want to be burnt out tired. Like, we have so many people in this age quitting their jobs and starting their own fields and their own careers because they realize the quality of life is more important. And I love the balance that I have in my life. I can travel, I can work, I can be a parent, I can be present, I can have friends, I can have a social life. Like, I can tell her dad, like, hey, can we switch schedules? Because I'm going to Afro-Punk this weekend. And he's like, okay. And it's not a big deal. Like,
just like basically having limits and everything. But also being honest with yourself. Like, before I was a mother, I was still a happy person and I like to do these things. Just because I'm a parent now doesn't mean I have to stop, like, going to concerts or whatever. It's just now everything has to be scheduled and have limits to things and planned out. And I'm thankful that I have a support system, right? And I'm going to use that support system. I'm not going to like deny it and then be the person always complaining, man, I can't do this, I can't do that, blah blah blah. Which is something that I love, is because it's like you're being honest. At the end of the day, you're a human being. I'm a mother, I'm a human being. I'm still responsible for myself. I'm responsible for my child, and also being a sister, a daughter, and knowing these hats and when to use it, which I love.
I feel like women, especially, we just take on that role of just being like, I can do it all. Like, you have an infant and your husband goes to do something for the baby and you're like, no, I can do it. Like, you are setting the tone for doing everything yourself now from this point on. When I had to wake up in the middle of the night and feed her, he was waking up too. I'd feed her and then I'd hand him over to her. So you burp her and you put her back in the crib. Like, it's a team effort, and you gotta continue.
So my wife don't hear that part.
Well, it's too late.
No, but it's true though. It's like not being afraid to ask for help. Like, listen.
Set your boundaries, set the tone, set your expectations, because what you allow is what will continue.
Can you say that one more time?
What you allow. Let me say it again. What you allow is what will continue.
How do you? So you learn these lessons in motherhood, and I want to know, did those lessons affect your career? Like these things that you're learning from your child and being a mother, and this is a new journey. Have you seen lessons that like, yo, this fits also too? What I learned here is now going to go into my career that I can use.
I think what's helpful when I'm working with brands that want to see like not just content, but content that is relatable, that you can really touch an audience with. So like, for example, I had did some content for Sabra hummus, and they wanted you to kind of take their little hummus snackers and pair it, like put it in your everyday life, which is not hard. In my work bag, at the computer with me, on a play date with Sienna. So it's like I take, sometimes when I'm working with these clients and they want like a real life caption, or they want like a real life scenario with their products, I will bring my daughter into the picture. I will, make it a real life thing, because a lot of these products, a lot of these companies that I work with, I do use their products as a mom, as an entrepreneur. Like, time is money and you want to be as effective as possible. So I when I can, I try to bring as real of a scenario to the work that I do.
What I also, from the outside from the outside looking in, what I noticed that, like, just to seeing the relationship that you have with your daughter, one lesson that I feel that she has been teaching you is that it's like almost like keeping you on your toes and being aware of so many things and showing you that you can do it, right? So when you was going through stuff with, your baby daddy and stuff and certain things, you still had to be responsive to her. You still had to take care of her. And she was always there to remind you, like, yo, it's cool. We're gonna laugh. We're gonna dance it out. Whatever. I think a big thing that I learned from that relationship is that the show must go on. That no matter what, and she showed you that you do have the strength and the courage to do it, which I think it's a beautiful thing to see, and people should basically, learn, if they have children, learn from them as much as they can, because they're showing you a lot of things that sometimes we're blocked to see at the moment because we're just dealing with life. You know?
I feel like she reminds me to be present. Like when I'm, if she's around, like on the days where I have her, and obviously I'm not shooting, but I still do have work to do. I have edits on the computer, following up with emails, like a lot of my admin stuff. And like sometimes I'm just staring at the computer for such a long time, and she's like, "Mommy, look at me." Like, and then I'm just like, you know what? Put this down. Let me be present.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, she's a character.
You mentioned you have this beautiful support system from your family, and I want to know, because I know, like, when I started to do my own thing, my mom is from a different time, right? So they don't get the whole acting and what they want to do. They're like, that's cute and all, but you still gotta office job is the way to go. You gotta pay bills, stuff like that. So when you decide to make this leap and you tell your mom, look, I'm gonna chase my dream, I'm gonna do what I gotta do, and that's it. I'm not gonna be tired like y'all all the time. I'm gonna be working like y'all because you got the great work ethic that you taught me, but I'm not gonna be out there. I'm gonna do what I love. What was their reaction when you was like, this is what I want to do, I don't want to hear it?
Well, like you got those Hispanic moms that are gonna just tell you how they feel, and then there are certain Hispanic moms that they just kind of like. My mom was really sensitive about it, so she didn't like outright tell me like, you got to get a regular job. There were a few times where she alluded to that.
Right.
But I remember, like, obviously when I decided to leave my daughter's father, like, we decided not to live together anymore because obviously. So I decided to move back home to save money, to really put money into my career, invest in equipment and things like that. Though I remember having a conversation with my mom on the phone, and I was just like, Mom, I'm coming back home with my child. I'm grateful, but do not tell me to get a regular job. Just don't. I'm telling you right now. And in the time that I've been home, I've been able to show her, like, look, I'm really doing this. Like, I know for her it's still hard because as a parent, you get scared. You get worried for your children. You want them to be successful. You want them to thrive. And I know she doesn't see it now, but so much has happened in my life and there's still so much brewing and bubbling that, like, I know in like a month or two, I'm gonna have my TV show. I'm gonna be like, Mom, look at this like $1 million contract. Like,
but she's definitely, she's very aware. Like, you know, she's like living through you. You know what I'm saying? Where she may not come out and say it because parents be like, I'm still
too
nervous
proud.
and scared, you know, whatever, right? And they're gonna have that egos, like whatever. But deep down, they are learning from you secretly because it's not like you're throwing it in their face, like, look, I just booked another one. You're just out and about doing it. So they are. Just like you're learning, because you had her fears and her worries, but you're like, you know what? I'm not gonna let that control me because if it does, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. And I remember when we would have conversations and we both would go through it. I would always tell you, just keep going. You know, yeah, shit's gonna come up. That's the purpose of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Shit is not gonna be handed to you. You know, and I think that's a beautiful thing as well. That like, you know, I'm teaching my mom as well that like. Whether you have fears or doubts, things will happen for you when you keep doing what you have to do and coming from a positive and a passionate place. You know what I'm saying?
I feel
the
like
same
my
way,
family's learning faith through me. Because they're wondering, like, how can she do this? Why does she keep going? How does she have... Like, I'm sure they're just thinking, like, how does she keep going?
But faith doesn't... That's a beautiful comment. Just because faith is so... It wasn't never taught. You know, the faith that they was taught and how we was taught was in God or whatever God you believe in. That was the faith that we was taught. But there was no sense of faith of within yourself and knowing that you could do those things because they came from a different world, you know, where they had to do what they had to do. My mom came from Puerto Rico, and the idea of a dream was if you get that office job, you're set for life. That's the dream. Because that's all they knew in their world. They
can't fathom having a career, or even if you have a career, it's got to be something like, you know, corporate or whatever the case. They can't fathom like living your wildest dreams, traveling the world.
No, it's true, and we have to put ourselves in their shoes to realize that. So therefore, I remember I used to take those things offensive. Like I would have these shows and my mom would see all these people and my mom was like, oh my God, Ricky, that's amazing, blah, blah, blah. But don't call out of work tomorrow. Like, so all she would say, when are you going to do another show? Because you just finished this show, you can't keep on doing the same show, or you can't do this forever. So I took those things as like, I remember those times I used to take it so negative. Like, what are you talking about? They took so long to do this, and look, I'm up there.
They're conditioned that way.
They're conditioned that way. And it's not coming from a negative. It actually is from a positive that they're like, I want to see another show, 1. 2, I want you to keep on doing what you got to do, but also be realistic that, you know, you have this other job that is helping you. So don't just throw all that away.
Right.
So my mom is also learning from that as well. And we have their support. It may not be the support that we want. We want to hear, you know what? I'll take care of the baby every day for 3 years. Do what you got to do. I don't care. You know, you don't have to pay no rent.
I don't. I don't.
Oh, that's
very
good.
Grateful.
Shit, I'm going to have to see your mom then. Shit, you got another room in there?
Nah.
But I love that story because it's realistic of the family, you know, having those concerns, right?
Yeah.
We have those concerns. This is never going to.
They're just not. We're in a time right now where it may seem really chaotic, but it's actually the birth of great expansion because so many people. I really don't like using this word, but I'm gonna use it just to use it. Are woke now. So they're realizing that they can establish their own industries, their own communities, their own enterprises, their own businesses, and we're making great change by doing that.
What keeps you going with all this? Knowing that, right, you're realistic to everything around you. From, you know, you have limits with the family and the support and the help, and then you have your own thing that you deal with, and then you have NYC Food Muse. What keeps you going? What keeps you going? What is this? I wouldn't say ultimate goal because goals are always going to change.
Yes,
but
there's always a new one.
Right. What are you thriving for?
Okay, so I mean, there are obviously like some monuments, little goals that I want to hit. The way that I've been thinking lately, everything that I want can literally be a phone call away. It could literally be a day away. Someone could call me up and say, hey, yo, we want to produce your show. Like, come on through. And I think that way, which also keeps me very present. And I've said that a lot during this thing because that's what keeps me moving, is being present. Because I feel like when people just keep focusing on like, I got to get to that goal right there, I got to get right over there, you're not realizing all the wins you're having in the moment. So when you see that goal farther and farther away, you then start feeling like a little helpless, or like it's too far, too unreachable. But when I sit here and I focus on, yo, I got this done today, I did that today, I did this podcast, I got reposted by this person, like counting the small wins every day makes me feel like my breakthrough is literally tomorrow. And feeling like that every day is magnetism. And it brings everything you need into your experience. So being present is really the biggest thing I have been able to do for myself to keep me motivated. When I look at my body of work, when I get to my Squarespace account and I update my client list is looking beautiful right now.
Yes.
And sometimes you need to remind yourself, like, yo, 2 years ago, like, where was I? And look at where I am now. And it's reminding yourself and being present.
And then that's a beautiful way to go into this other part of the interview where I have 3 different segments. So that's dope. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So you have 3 segments that I usually go through in this part of the podcast. Okay. One of them is called Peekaboo. So basically, the first question is, I saw this from my friend who did a show, and I love the questions that she asked. So I said, you know what, I'm going to use that as a segment. So this one's called Peekaboo. First question is, what do you hide from the world?
What do I hide from the world? I guess I don't show the world when I'm feeling down. And I don't do that because, to be quite honest, I think it increases the frequency of that bad vibration. So if I'm feeling down, like for example, the other day I had 2 shoots back to back, 2 different parts of Brooklyn. Trains was messed up. It was really hot that day. I'm carrying my equipment and I'm feeling like instantly defeated before I even get to the last shoot of the day. And I'm just like, you got to check yourself right now. Because it's hot as hell, but it's a beautiful day. You're not at a cubicle. You work for yourself. This shoot is going to be done in an hour and you're going to be home by 4 while most people are still at work. And you get to chill in some AC, smoke a doobie, and like chill out.
And that's funny that you said that, because I use that example the last 2 times, and when people get kind of like, it's a great question that we have to sit back and think, because I use that same thing. I said, well, I hide my pain from the world. Like, no one knows if I'm up or down or whatever, because one is nobody's business, but it's just what I'm focusing on and getting through. The moment I do a show or whatever, then I reveal everything. So I'm glad, thank you for sharing that and being open to share that.
It doesn't last long. If you let it, it can.
Right.
But it doesn't have to last long. So if I go and I announce it, like how those people who have like diarrhea of the mouth and they got to post every single emotion that they feel on social media.
I don't get that.
Yeah, like it's like, okay, so you're perpetuating that feeling. Everybody commenting on that status is then perpetuating that vibration even further, and now you wonder why the rest of your day is shit.
Yo, I hate when people like, they're at the hospital and they just put a picture of the hospital band. It was like, I'm good, God got me. I'm like, first of all, why did you post that? Like, and then you say, nah, don't. It's all good because God got me right now. So you don't need to reply to be good because I'm good. But why did you post that? So anyway, I don't get this generation.
Or people be like, I'm really sad, and then somebody comment, what's wrong? I don't want to talk about it.
That's my favorite too. I don't want to talk about it. Now everything's gonna be good because he's gonna get his and stuff like that. But it's all good. So moving along the segments. If you do that, you know who you are.
Right. Cut that shit out.
Just stop.
It ain't even cute.
Yeah, it's not even cute. It doesn't solve anything because next week you're gonna post another post about that. So anyway, the second question of that peekaboo segment is, what do you show the world?
I show the world my wins. I like to show the world laughter because my page is very food centered, and you'll find a few pictures of me, pictures of events and things that I do in between, and a few videos that I've produced. But on my stories, I really like to have fun. I like to talk to people if they have questions. I like to post a funny meme. I like to, post music that I like to show that I'm a person outside of what it is that I do. And I realized that it manifested into me wanting a TV show and wanting to have a face on camera instead of being that face behind the camera, because so many people responded positively to seeing me, to hearing what I had to say.
And you know what? I'm gonna throw a little gem at you, which you probably knew already. You don't gotta wait till a producer and somebody say, "Hey, I want you to do this."
I'm already working on it.
You could do your own web series. We here.
I'm already working on it. Sorry, I was looking at the wife.
I'm gonna have to speed that camera up. So no, but it's true. Once you said that, I already knew. All right.
Yeah.
The next segment is called "What Would You Do?" So basically, if you're gonna die tomorrow at 3 p.m. and you knew that, right? What would you accomplish within that time? It could be a dream, it could be a goal, it could be anything. Don't worry about how this is gonna get done. I'm just letting you know now. If tomorrow you're gonna die at 3 p.m., what would you accomplish?
If I was gonna die at 3 p.m., I think I would practice stillness. I think so many people think, okay, I'm gonna die, so I gotta do so many things. That puts you in such a hectic and chaotic vibration that would make me feel like, oh my God, I can't do enough in this time. So I would just do it what makes me feel the most peaceful. And if that means nothing, sitting with my child and watching another episode of Paw Patrol, that's what it's gonna be.
Beautiful. Our last segment is called Words from My Spiritual Teacher, Guru Enlightenment. Everyone knows that I have a spiritual teacher that I go to. She does free workshop, free sessions, and she teaches spirituality, which is believing in yourself and knowing that you have a purpose. And you was born with gifts and so much beautiful things inside you, and it's all up to you to go out there. So she teaches spirituality. She has a book as well on Amazon. I'm going to post all that information as always in the description. But she does a lot of writings as well that she shares on Facebook. So this segment is to basically share some of her writings and get people aware of what she does. And if you're interested, you can go to her website and check out more. She has helped me tremendously and my friends. So she wrote something. It's called We All Become Something We Are Not. And it goes like this. Love plays a big part in it. Without love within ourselves, we can't grow and learn. We never ever give ourselves a chance to begin with. We have lied to ourselves and run with it. What we leave behind is pain, hurt, misery, and despair. When loving oneself, doors open up. It lets you get to know who you are and what you are worth as a person. Love gives you an understanding of the person you are meant to become. So, after sharing that, what does that make you think of? What did that make you feel?
I feel like, and I know this is going to sound like a cheesy answer.
No.
But love is the answer, right? Isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because if we do all things with love, it is from the purest part of ourselves. So if you're like at a job that you hate, or if you're in a relationship that sucks, or if you're just in a situation that does not suit you, you feel that uncomfortable feeling because your body intuitively is like, this doesn't agree with me. Mm-hmm. But when you're doing something that is in agreement or alignment with who you are, you feel love, you feel joyous, you feel happy. Mm-hmm. And then the best thing to do is to do something to hold on to that. Mm-hmm. Give some love away, create some more.
I agree. And I think with this, to me, this ties in so much with your story. If we're just taking that love part, right? When you started to take your power, right, mm-hmm. back, and to learn to love yourself. Yeah. You learn to love yourself even more. Even, right, this concept of love has many things in there. The fears, the doubts, the insecurities, the passion, the power, everything, all positive and couple of issues and negativity that you have within yourself, that's all part of this whole love thing. But once you started to embrace that, right, in your life,
Yes.
and you said, fuck it, I'm scared, but I'm gonna do it. You know,
Yes.
I'm a new mother, but I'm gonna learn how to be a mother. You know, I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect Rosanna, but I'm gonna keep doing it. Everything is based on, let me learn how to love myself and lead with love. And the moment you started doing that, to really, I think a lot of things started flourishing for you. You know, and I started noticing changes in you from the stories we would share with each other. And I think this goes well with you because you're a true example of that. Whether, you know, you had these things in your way, but you continue to fight through. And I think people can learn from this podcast interview and your story, because I learned from it, right? At the end of the day, be present. Learn to love yourself no matter what, and continue. It will always be a struggle. And also there will be success. But just allow yourself to give yourself that chance to do it.
Once again, thank you everybody for checking out another episode of the Win Podcast. You can check us out on SoundCloud, YouTube, Instagram at the Win Podcast. And any information you want to check out, just look at the description box and all the information is there. So thank you again, and I hope you enjoyed another episode. Peace.